Okay, so we got these stats starting up. Hopefully the sync will be fine in this one. Hopefully we won't have a weird episode like last time, but I'm sure everything will be okay right now. So, yep, it seems like everything is on. Just gotta make sure, is everything, yep, there we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this one started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And this time around, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a heads up that we got a little bit more of a Disney-centric episode. Yes, a lot of the stories that I have for you today, in fact, most of them are actually going to be related to Disney, since they do have some pretty interesting news. A few of them are headliners, and others, well, they are pretty interesting things to go and talk about. And by the way, before I get things started, I just want to talk about what happened last week, and I know that there have been some people who did discuss about it, who did bring it up, and I do understand that in the last episode, there was a little bit of a technical issue where my voice was a little bit out of sync with the camera that you would see. Now, maybe that's not necessarily an issue if you are only listening to this, rather it be through audio, like on iTunes or Google Play, but if you were watching it, rather it be live stream on Twitch or on YouTube, then I can understand that there might be some people who might have a little bit of an issue. At least for the YouTube one, I did give out a little bit of a warning on that. So I just want to know, like, before I get things started, I would like to know, guys, is the sync right now good? Because it could be possible that last week it was just like some kind of random glitch or something like that. Let's see. Alright, according to the chat wall, it seems that, yeah, the sync actually does seem to be pretty good. Okay, so it's just like a random weird episode from last time. I don't know what the fridge happened then, so it was just a weird hiccup that happened at the wrong time, and keep in mind that I am a one-man show here. I'm trying to do everything at the same time. Like, just doing these episodes really is multitasking, so, like, trying to put on the show and trying to fix things at the same time, like, you know, it's really not that easy. But I am glad that right now, things are actually going pretty well. So, with all that said and done, now that we know that everything seems to be all good, I would like to ask the chat wall, guys, are you all ready for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Alright, we got some people who are ready. Okay, that's good, that's good. Alright. We got some people prepared. Let's see. I'm ready to eat some sausage, but not quite for the podcast. Well, you could actually do both if you can. I mean, like, one requires your ears and the other one, well, it requires, like, your mouth. So it's not like you're going to be listening through your mouth. So the sausage won't be that much of a problem. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get this one started. I'm glad that we're all set. I'm glad that we're all prepared. So let's begin our first story. And we might as well go ahead and start off with the big batch of Disney news. The first of which, we might as well begin with the big headliner and the one that many people got a lot talking into. And what I'm referring to, of course, is their brand new release schedule. Yes, Disney has officially unveiled a brand new giant list of all their upcoming films from this year all the way down to 2027. However, the big significant, wow, I was tripping on my words there. Anyways, the big significance with this one, however, is that now this list would go and include many of the films that would be released by 20th Century Fox. But what is actually very fascinating to note is that while there are a few additions, for the most part, it's actually a lot of delays. They did end up trying to go and delay a whole bunch of them. While there are some new additions that have been revealed, including the live-action remake of 101 Dalmatians known as Cruella, now that officially got a release date of December 23rd, 2020. So my guess is that they're trying to go and pull off a bit like what they just did with Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins Returns specifically. Now, I know that some people may say that that movie is not necessarily that much of a big hit, but it did still manage to get some money. If anything, it was more of a sleeper hit. Not necessarily as huge as some of the other Disney live-action remakes, but still, it managed to do well on its own. But anyways, going back into the schedule, now, I have my list here from Variety, and there is a whole list of all the changes that Disney has done so far. I'm not going to go and read through all of them, but I will go into some of the major significant ones. I think so far the only one that actually did get an upgrade that's going to be released earlier than expected is actually going to be the Fox film The Art of Racing in the Rain, which was originally for September 27th of this year, and now it's going to be moved up to August 9th. But then, we also got some other movies that have some major delays that they are going to be pushed back right now. One big example is going to be the upcoming Blue Sky film Spies in Disguise, which originally was supposed to be out on September 13th of this year, but now it has been delayed to Christmas of this year. So apparently Disney decided that the Blue Sky film is going to be our Christmas present. But then, moving right along to some of the other ones, one major change that we got, and holy crap, this seemed to have delayed once again. I don't know, I think this movie got delayed for like the 4th time right now. The New Mutants. Yes, originally scheduled for August 2nd, 2019, August 2nd of this year, now it is delayed again to April 3rd, 2020. But on top of that, that's not the only movie that got delayed. There was also the Disney film Artemis Fowl, which was supposed to be out on August 9th of this year, but considering that The Art of Racing in the Rain has now taken that schedule, it has been completely delayed almost to an entire year, where now it has scheduled to be released on May 29th, 2020. But then there are some others that they did get some delay, but it's not necessarily that bad. Like Death on the Nile, which is the sequel to Murder on the Orient Express. It was supposed to be released on October 2nd, 2020. Now it only got delayed to just 1 week on October 9th. So that's not necessarily that bad. But on top of that, we also got another new addition, which is West Side Story, the highly anticipated, I believe it is directed by Steven Spielberg, the remake of the classic feature film and the classic musical. Now that is going to be released on December 18th, 2020. So, just a few days before Cruella. Now, why pitting those two movies? Why Disney is doing that? I don't know. Maybe it's just a strategy to dominate the box office, but we'll see. But then we also got another movie that got massively delayed, which is going to be Nimona, originally scheduled for Valentine's Day 2020. Now it got delayed to more than a year, where now it's going to be out on March 5th, 2021. But then we also got the big ones, the massive ones that people are talking about the most in terms of these schedule changes. And that is regarding the Avatar sequels. Now, originally, the 4 sequels were supposed to be released somewhere between the end of 2020 up till the end of 2025. Disney decided they're going to do something different, where with the Avatar sequels, they will be releasing them once every 2 years. Avatar 2 will now be released, which by the way, each of them will be released in the middle of December. So Avatar 2 is now going to be released in 2021. Avatar 3 is going to be released in 2023. Avatar 4 is going to be released in 2025. And finally, the 5th and final Avatar movie is going to be released in 2027. But then suddenly, here is an interesting twist. 3 brand new additions that got a lot of people talking, and also a lot of people just unsure about how to feel about this situation. Which, by the way, I'm going to take some water breaks, and I got a new cup, so hopefully drinking water will help out, especially, like, making less burps. But anyways, going back into this, yes, there are 3 brand new additions. They don't have a title just yet, but Disney has added a trilogy of Star Wars films onto the schedule. And what's interesting is that these movies, again, will be released in the middle of December, kind of like what they have done with the recent trilogy with The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and what they're going to do with The Rise of Skywalker. But they will be putting them right in between the Avatar films. So the Star Wars movies will be released in 2022, 2024, and 2026. So basically, in the next decade, what we are going to see is that we will notice that for every middle December, there's going to be a bit of a pattern where we're going to see Avatar, Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars, you know, stuff like that. That's basically the big plan that Disney wants to do. And also, on a side note, probably one thing that did get people a bit upset is actually going to be regarding the Gambit movie, which is one of the spin-off films that Fox wanted to do with the X-Men franchise. Well, apparently it seems to be official. What was originally scheduled for March 13th, 2020, well, it looks like it is going to be canceled. Now, this is also something that I need to go and bring up related to the animation stuff as well, because this is the Crazy Cartoon Cast, and I can't really get away without talking about some of the animation things that have been revealed in this schedule. Now, I've already talked about the fact that Spies in Disguise is going to be delayed up till Christmas of this year, and so far we don't have any word regarding the upcoming releases of Blue Sky. I think they're going to be the ones in charge of revealing when their next movies are going to be coming out after Spies in Disguise. But so far, if we look into the full schedule, so far there hasn't been much that would change. I will say right now that in terms of the Fox animated movies that they want to release, the one that has been confirmed is that in 2020, on July 17th, there is going to be the Bob's Burgers movie. So that thing is officially going to be there. But then, right afterwards, in terms of the Disney animation stuff, the animated films made by Walt Disney Animation Studios, nothing is going to change on that, and they are going to be keeping the tradition of releasing their movies every American Thanksgiving. So near the end of November, they're going to go and release their movie. So this year, we're going to get Frozen 2. And then, like, this will go on in, like, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Those are the ones that are officially confirmed so far. Now, in terms of Pixar, though, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because there are going to be some years where we're only going to get one Pixar film, but then there are also going to be some years where we are also going to get two Pixar films. This year, we're only going to get Toy Story 4. That's a confirmation right there. But then a little bit afterwards, you will find that in 2020, there's actually going to be two Pixar films. One is going to be the already announced Onward, which is going to be coming out on March 6th. And then in June, there's going to be another Pixar film. 2021, there's only going to be one Pixar movie, and again, that's going to be in June. But then in 2022, we actually got two Pixar films. Again, one is going to be coming out on March 18th, and the other is going to be coming out in the middle of June. So that's the big thing that's going to be planned out, at least in terms of animation that we know of. Now, what's going to happen afterwards, what's going to happen in between, that is going to be something that we shall wait and see. Okay, but with all that said, looking into this new schedule, it does actually seem pretty interesting, and I think this is the first time that we actually did see this big full schedule change now that Disney is implementing the stuff related to Fox, because now we're at the point that Disney has officially purchased Fox. Fox is now in the Disney company, it's theirs. So now from what I see, they're really trying to schedule stuff around the Fox stuff as well. Like now they're pretty much rearranging some things in order for the two forces to really come together and to make things really beneficial for the Walt Disney Company. That does seem to be like what the big plan is going to be right now, which is why we do see a lot of delays, and we might see a few cancellations as well, not necessarily just from the Fox films, but it even stated right over here that there have also been some Disney movies as well that have been taken out, some like live action films, and outside of that, like maybe a few other like they said, like Untitled Fox Marvel movies, they decided to go and pull that out. Like maybe they were planning more X-Men movies or stuff like that, but my guess is that maybe in the future, sometime in the middle of the 2020 decade, Disney wants to plan things out in order to really integrate the X-Men franchise and the Fantastic Four franchise, to really put it in their Marvel universe as well, or maybe even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's what many people are hoping for at the most. But it's not necessarily all that surprising that we will see all these changes coming up now that they do own it. So it does make sense that they would have to go and push back on a few things. But I guess the biggest surprises and what people really are talking about are mainly of the new additions. So now that we know that the Cruella de Vil movie, that seems to be really official, the fact that they have officially given it a release date, and I guess things kind of worked out well for Mary Poppins Returns, so they're probably hoping for the same thing on Cruella. And if things don't work out with Cruella, well, at the very least, they do have West Side Story in order to go and pick things up, because I know West Side Story is going to be one film that will be highly anticipated, because like I said before, it is a massive musical classic. This is something that is considered legendary, and the fact that they really are hyping things up, Steven Spielberg is heavily involved, like, they will make that one a major deal. So either way, if it's going to be West Side Story or Cruella de Vil, that'll end up being the box office winner. This is going to be a situation where Disney is going to win in that front. And also, what is actually very interesting is that I do see, like, speaking of, like, West Side Story and Cruella, it really does look like Disney wants to make sure that they dominate the end of the year, that they really want to try to capitalize hard on the December releases and then really banking onto that. That seems to be the big strategy for the 2020 decade, so that, like, they'll release it in December and then they'll really profit once the winter schedule would come out, and then you'll see, like, large amounts of profit coming in, because, like, there's not much else to go and watch, so why not check out something like Avatar or Star Wars, or like maybe what else, West Side Story or Cruella and stuff like that. That seems to be the big strategy for Disney to really capitalize on the winter market. So they have seen some good, like, they of course, they have seen a lot of great luck with it, especially with the Star Wars film. So hopefully they will try to really dominate that sector right there once we get into the 2020 decade. Or actually, you know what? Never mind, because I think they are pretty much starting off, especially from this year. Like, considering that at the end of this year, we're going to get The Rise of Skywalker, and no matter how that's going to come out, it will be a massive hit. So from there, of course, it is going to be something that Disney will try to capitalize and try to dominate at the box office. So now they want to try to make it a major tradition, and especially the fact that they got the Avatar films right now, like, that does seem to be the big strategy, where at the end of the year, it doesn't necessarily have to just be Star Wars, but end the year off with a major sci-fi franchise. Rather it be either Star Wars or Avatar, they'll try to go and do that, with the only exception being 2020 with West Side Story and Cruella. But then we have to go and discuss about the Star Wars trilogy, the 3 new additions, because Disney has stated before that after Rise of Skywalker, they want to try to go and have a little break from making movies and put their focus a little bit more on the Disney Plus stuff, like the new series like The Mandalorian, or some of their other shows that they would have, like, really make Disney Plus a bit of their focus. But It is interesting to see that there is going to be another trilogy that's going to be coming out in the next decade. Now, a lot of people have theorized that this could be the Rian Johnson trilogy, you know, the director of The Last Jedi. He signed in with Lucasfilm in order to go and create an entire trilogy of Star Wars movies. It's going to be different than the saga that we are seeing right now, but it is going to be 3 different movies that are going to be connecting together. That seems to be the major plan, and some people have theorized this could be it. Those are going to be the Star Wars movies that we are going to see in the future. But honestly, at this point, these 3 Star Wars movies, it's hard to really go and dissect and to really talk about what they are going to be, considering that Rise of Skywalker, that's going to be the end of the saga that we know, the saga that's pretty much going on right now, and especially the end of the recent trilogy that we are going to have. So rather if it's going to be its own thing, rather if it's going to connect with any of the stories of the well-known Star Wars movies that we have right now, that is going to be something that we will have to wait and see, and if it's going to be a good idea or not, because as many have stated before, unfortunately, Star Wars is no longer a profitable idea. It's no longer a safe bet that, oh, they could just release a Star Wars money and it will immediately make more than $1 billion. We just saw what happened with Solo: A Star Wars Story, and that unfortunately ended up bombing at the box office and really did screw Disney over, which is why Disney is no longer planning to make more of those A Star Wars Story movies. Like, originally, we would have had so many more stuff like with Boba Fett, with Yoda, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all that kind of stuff, but because of the failure of Solo, it just didn't necessarily work out, and this is pretty much why Disney wanted a little bit of a break from making any more Star Wars movies, like not really force them out as much as they have done. It's not like once every year we're going to get a Star Wars story. They decided, okay, we're going to play a little bit more safe, which is why now with this right over here, we're only going to get like once every 2 years. So that's pretty much my analysis on from what I am seeing so far. We are seeing a whole bunch of delays, but again, this is all in the process for Disney to merge with, well, not necessarily merge, but to fit in Fox within their company and to make sure that both sides can work out well within each other and to make sure that they don't clash with each other in order to go and turn a profit. So that seems to be the big strategy right now. I know there are a few sacrifices, and I know there are a few strange additions, but those ones, especially like the Star Wars movies, they're not going to be out until like many years later, so we're not going to get a whole lot of information. So this is honestly something that we will have to wait and see, but honestly, it is pretty interesting, and I don't know. For me, like, I would say the most inconvenient thing for me would have to be the fact that Spies in Disguise has to come out, like, in freaking Christmas. Like, instead of going onto September, they have to put it onto Christmas. I don't know if that's going to be something that Disney will keep. And I mean, like, with Blue Sky Films, usually they would have a big budget. I would not be surprised, honestly, if it is possible that they might delay Spies in Disguise again, that maybe it's not going to keep its Christmas release date, and it could be possible we could be seeing an early Christmas, not early Christmas, but maybe like an early 2020 release date that maybe Disney will plan to go and release it either in February or maybe even January. That we'll have to wait and see, but there is a part of me that does feel like maybe we will have, like, there is a chance Spies in Disguise is not going to stay long on that Christmas release date, especially the fact that it has to be up against Rise of Skywalker, because let's be honest, the last Blue Sky movie, Ferdinand, didn't go necessarily well up against The Last Jedi. I'm just saying right there. So, with all that said and done, I think that is pretty much my piece on the whole thing. Now, I would like to go onto the chat wall, and I would like to go and ask you guys, what do you think of the big schedule announcement that Disney revealed? Are there some that you are excited about? Are there some that you're disappointed about? Are you some that you're a little bit iffy? Let me know what you guys think about all this. All right, let's see. Oh, wow, I already see people that are jealous about my cup. Now, for those of you that are only listening, I got myself a brand new Mickey Mouse cup, and some people or like this Mickey Mouse mug. So a lot of people seem to be pretty jealous of that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to have this, and this might be a pretty good staple for the podcast. I think this is going to be a nice new addition. Anyways, let's get on to the chat. Let's see what people are saying. What caught my attention were the Avatar sequels 10 years after the first one. Personally, I think the reason why Cameron confirmed more Avatar sequels is because Endgame felt threatened that it's beating his film since it has beaten Titanic. No. The sequels have nothing to do with Endgame at all. Mainly because of the fact that they have been announced long before Endgame or Infinity War or like the big Avengers crossovers were like really a major thing. So they have been going on for like a long time now. So I highly doubt that it is because of that. And so far, now that it is going to be released in 2021, now I think it is official that I think it's 11. Is it 11 or no? I think now it's going to be like 12 years after the first Avatar got released. Or I don't know if my calculations are correct, because technically if like 2009 plus 12, that would mean that, yeah, 12 years later. So we got Avatar, then 12 years later we're going to get Avatar 2. I just had to make some quick math right over there. Anyways, let's go into the next comment in the chat wall. No, I already talked about you. I'm specifically interested in original animated movies like Onward, Spies in Disguise, Nimona, Call of the Wild, and especially Bob's Burgers. I'm a big fan of the show. Oh, wait. Oh, are those animated films? Oh, wow. Okay, so, just to give you... Okay, so, that's actually kind of interesting. Because the thing is, just to give you a heads up, if Call of the Wild is an animated film, it actually did pointed it out right over here that Call of the Wild, it was supposed to be released on Christmas of this year, but it did get delayed until February 21st, 2020. So just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. And Nimona is also an animated film? Okay, I'm honestly surprised. Let's see. And, okay, yeah, so the animated films, and Ron's Gone Wrong, I always want to know what new animation studio can bring to the table. Hopefully Disney doesn't treat their Fox animated movies like they treated Strange Magic. Anyhow, very excited overall for original animated movies. Okay, no, I definitely do agree with you right there. Okay, just want to let you know, though, I don't think that's really going to be that much with the case of Strange Magic, because the thing is that with Strange Magic, when you see the movie, you understand why Disney treated it the way that it did. It literally is so bad that they don't even want to attach the Disney brand onto it. They had to throw in the Touchstone thing, which normally they save it for their more adult-oriented programs. So I don't think that I don't think it really is the case that they had any doubt related to these, and I'm sure they'll do fine with them, or like they'll let Fox do the major marketing for them. So yeah, the thing is with Strange Magic, that's its own unique thing that is just, it's so bad that not even Disney wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like, that's probably the one thing that they regretted when buying Lucasfilms. It's like, okay, we got Indiana Jones, we got Star Wars, and oh god, what is this thing? Do we have to release that? Oh, good god. Okay, anyways, let's see now. I do understand why Disney need to make changes for the release of themselves and Fox films. It could be bad for some, because there are people that wanted to know what the final projects of some of them, especially New Mutants. I do hope they'll get finished, then I could check it out and see. Yeah, I mean, like, there are some, yeah, especially, like, a lot of them seem to be delayed, and I mean, at the very least, it's not like the New Mutants are canceled like Gambit and a few other of the Fox Marvel projects, so hopefully things will be fine with that one. Let's see. To go into a specific topic, I'm not too sure about releasing 4 Avatar sequels. I get that it's the highest grossing film of all time, but the films are just average. The film is just average at best. but it'll give us another great ride at Animal Kingdom. To quote Hulk, I see this as an absolute win. As an absolute win. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I see your point of view. That definitely is true. It's like worst case scenario. If the movies suck, then maybe it'll help us give a cool brand new addition to Pandora at Animal Kingdom. That could be the best thing from these Avatar sequels. It's that they're just fuel for more rides at Animal Kingdom. So maybe there is that. Okay, I think we're pretty much all good with the new release schedules. I think we're all good with that. And now it shall be time that we shall go on to our next story. And for this one, we're just going to be focusing on one movie in particular. And this is one that not many people talk about, mainly because this is just one of their Disney Plus exclusives. And what I'm going to be talking about is actually going to be regarding the live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp, and a new interesting thing that they shall be doing. Now, this one, I am definitely sure that they're going to go and this is going to be one that will have a lot of people talking and will make a very interesting discussion piece. And that is going to be with the addition of Janelle Monae. Yes, Janelle Monae has signed on to join the live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp, not just to go and lend her voice, but she is also going to go and make some music. It even stated here through my source on Variety that she will be performing 2 original songs. But the real interesting part here is that she brought in her music company, Wonderland, which is Wonderland, but instead of ER, it's replaced with an A. Now, Janelle Monae and Wonderland, what they are going to do is that they are also going to reinvent the Siamese Cat Song. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the original Lady and the Tramp, or if you guys haven't seen it in like a long time and just don't necessarily remember, there was one scene where the aunt of Lady's owner, she came in and she brought in her cats, and these are 2 Siamese cats, and they would go and sing this song that's well, I think the nicest way to put it is that it's not necessarily politically correct for this day and age. And when you hear it, it's pretty bad. Like, we gotta admit, like, there's no beating around the bush. It's pretty bad. Like, it's not like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of questionable, but I can let that pass. It's not that kind of thing. Like, we're literally going into stereotype levels that is nearly like freaking Ching Chong. Like, we're entering Ching Chong levels of stereotypes with this thing. Like, if you guys remember the song, right? We are Siamese, if you please. Dun-dun-dun-dun. We are Siamese, if you don't please. There is no way that anyone could get away with making that kind of song nowadays. It is stereotypical as F right over there. And one of the more questionable songs that was made by Disney, you know, the kind that people would bring up in terms of like controversial Disney stuff. But anyways, going back into this, what Janelle Monae and Wonderland are going to do is that they are going to pretty much reinvent the song. They'll try to make a brand new version that they'll try to remove the Ching Chong elements of that song right over there, or just like completely make something new out of it. We do have a quote here coming from Kaylin Frank, a vice president in creative music and soundtracks at Disney, as she stated, "We're dealing with Wonderland, her team of incredibly creative writers and producers that she works with. So our director has engaged with her in terms of what the storytelling of the song needs to be." And also, there have been word right over here. There's no confirmation, but it also says here that there's also a possibility that Wonderland will do a pass on the film's signature song, "He's a Tramp," another individual added. So there is that major possibility. So that's pretty much what's going on right over here, is that Janelle Monae is going to be coming into this remake, and she's going to try not only to go and add new songs onto the movie and perform them as well, but also she will actually take one of the classic songs, in this case the Siamese Cat, and make it, well, I guess there's no way around it, to make it a little less racist. Now, one thing I'll just start things off, but I just want to begin by saying that when I first saw this news, there was honestly something that just irked me a little bit. And it's not necessarily the factor of the Siamese Cat Song. It's mostly the factor that they have to bring in Janelle Monae in order to sing some original songs and to lend her voice in the live-action reboot. Now, that is something that I am not necessarily that comfortable with. Now, this is not because of Janelle Monae herself. It's not because of Wonderland. I'm not necessarily against any of that whatsoever. I'm sure she is highly talented. She has done some great songs. It's just that I recently came out of Ugly Dolls. And the same thing as it was reported right over here, Janelle Monae in Ugly Dolls, she lended her voice and she would also sing some songs. And let's be honest, they were pretty crappy. Janelle Monae is not necessarily all that great of an actress, not terrible, but just she still needs a bit of acting training in order to be like really good as an actress. That, and also another problem is just that the songs are just so bland. They're so they're so soullessly manufactured for the purpose of trying to be like happy or can't stop the feeling. So the big thing right over here, again, it's nothing necessarily against Janelle Monae, nothing against Wonderland. I'm just still in the process of trying to get rid of the memory of Ugly Dolls out of my head and how soullessly bland that whole movie was, and everything that it would deliver is just bland. So yeah, that's the only thing. It's just, it really is bad timing on that aspect. But going back into the factor of the Siamese Cat Song, I will say that there's a part of me that is surprised and not surprised. Now, I am not surprised at all that they would try to get rid of the Siamese Cat Song and try to make a brand new version to make it more acceptable for the modern times. But I am surprised at the fact that they are pretty much in a way keeping the Siamese Cat Song in some sense, because I was honestly expecting that maybe they would do something like Dumbo. You know, like they would do something like with the crow scene. Now, I know some of you might think that with the Dumbo remake, there are no crows. There is no crow scene. Exactly. They pretty much removed it completely, pretend like it did not exist. And that was honestly something that I was expecting with this one, that maybe they're just gonna get rid of C and M and they're gonna get rid of the song altogether, pretend that it just doesn't exist in order to make it more accustomed to modern times. But it looks like they want to try to make a new spin. It looks like they want to try to keep the characters in some form and keep the song in some form. But it definitely is true that if the case may be that if they have to bring Lady and the Tramp to modern times, if they want to remake it for this day and age, then of course they have to do something with the Siamese Cat Song. That I don't necessarily blame the filmmakers and the team at Disney to actually go and do something like that. Because the thing is, when you do look at the Siamese Cat Song, the best way that I could describe it is that, you know, I know that I said before, yeah, it is a little bit racist, but mainly it is one of the things that is the true definition of a product of its time. It definitely is, because it's actually very interesting. On this article from Variety, it even mentioned about one analysis regarding the song itself. And it's actually pretty interesting the way that it described it. So let me just read you that little piece right over here. In a 2013 analysis on the Cat Song and culture at culture blog Flavorwire, one author found the depiction of C&M as a result of a World War II anxiety America had about for foreign other, saying they came to represent and a duplicitous and seductive team with shady motives. They have no individuality. Their innocent blue eyes blend into a sinister glare as they cave at the slant. They are jaundiced and sly, sick and feral, domesticated, though nevertheless propelled by their mischievous, impish nature to deceive and intimidate, wrote author Marcus Hunter, who called them a colonist nightmare. So that really is the thing about the Siamese Cat Song, because if you really think about the time period of when that song was made, it would make a whole lot of sense why they would actually go and do that. Because keep in mind, the original Lady and the Tramp was released back in 1995. And like this article stated right over here, it was the time when America had a serious anxiety problem. Like, they're at the point that they just couldn't, they just really could not trust anyone that is outside of their country. And that is mainly because of all the different wars that happened and that were happening at the time. Like, they just got out of World War II, and then they found themselves into different wars as well. Like, they already had the Korean War at the time. They were about to enter the Vietnam War, and like, they were right in the heat of the Cold War as well. So they had some serious trust issues with Asians and with communists. Now, for example, like, in terms of different Asian cultures, like with the Japanese, well, of course, America couldn't trust the Japanese back then because during World War II, the Japanese sided with Hitler and Germany. And also on top of that, like the whole Pearl Harbor incident, like that really was a big deal back then. Just need some water. But then on top of that, you also had China, which was and debatably still is a very communist country, and especially with the factor of the Cold War, that was when America had this massive paranoia when it comes to communism. And I'm sure there are still some people to this day, they still have a bit of that paranoia. It's like, communists, where, I'm scared of communists, you know, like that kind of attitude. So yeah, like, they couldn't trust the Chinese, they couldn't trust the, they couldn't trust the Japanese. Then the Korean War happened, so they would have issues with the Koreans as well. And then, like, all that would accumulate that America had serious trust issues, especially when it came to Asians. Now, maybe some of those, I could be wrong, and feel free to correct me, and I do apologize if I made any mistakes, but that seems to be the big thing. And so, when doing a song like the Siamese Cat Song, of course, they would have a little bit of an Asian orientation in order to make them look more villainous, to make them look not that trustworthy, to make them look like really devious, like they seem trustworthy at first, but you know that these are characters that you should not trust. And yeah, like, it may seem a little bit racist, but back then, their Asian orientation, that's kind of like the clue to know, oh, these characters are not good guys. Those are the villains. Yeah, I know, that sounds terrible, but that is actually the case back then. So that's basically the big message that I want to try to put out, is the fact that the Siamese Cat Song really was a product of its time, where, yeah, it was definitely cool, it was definitely acceptable to have that kind of song be released back in 1955. Nowadays, however, no it ain't, because so far we are at the point where, for the most part, there are a lot of people are very accepting when it comes to Asian culture and when it comes to Asians. The only exception, well, there are some people who are racist and, like the white nationalists, you know how those guys are, But anyways, going back into what I was talking about. Yeah, so the thing is that, of course, in this day and age, we are a lot more acceptable when it comes to Asian cultures and having Asians around, like with Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, Vietnamese, or whatever. So having the Siamese Cat Song is not that acceptable. So I'm not necessarily all that surprised that Disney and Janelle Monae would have to do something related to that. And for me, I'm not necessarily all that upset that they're doing this because, quite frankly, I don't really care all that much when it comes to this project altogether. I mean, we are talking about a streaming exclusive Disney live action remake. We know for a fact it's not necessarily going to be something that Disney is going to put in a lot of their money or really a lot of their energy in order to present this highly on it. Like, this one is just going to be like a little side piece that's just a part of the big thing that they want to sell, which is Disney Plus. So honestly, I look at this and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, we know for a fact that this will most likely come out as inferior to the animated version. So really, it's just, we look at this and it's just like, whatever, man. Like, just do whatever you want. You know, Disney, just do whatever you want. Like, really, like, you know, with this version, like, as long as we got the animated film, then we should be fine with it. So, yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, the animated film is going to be released onto Disney Plus anyway, so at least we got both going on. So, really, it doesn't, like, really, I look at this, I was like, freaking whatever, dude. Like, whatever. Go nuts with it. I'm just gonna watch the animated film. So, that's pretty much how I feel about the whole situation. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know. I got my Blu-ray. It's gonna be on Disney Plus. What the fridge ever. Okay, so, with that said and done, I would like to know what you guys think. I would like to know in the chat wall, what are your thoughts regarding the new changes and what Janelle Monae is going to do with the live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp. Are you guys okay with the changes that they're going to do to the Siamese Cat Song? Are you guys upset with it? And if you are a huge fan of the Lady and the Tramp movie, I want to know what you think about this whole thing. This seems like a very interesting thing. Okay, let's see now. Yeah, sorry, Janelle. I love your music, and I anticipate your rendition of the Siamese Cats, but if Ugly Dolls taught me anything, is that your acting skills need a good amount of polishing. I hope that her rendition don't have the Ugly Dolls effect by trying to make them into the next Sunflower. But to her credit, however, her performance is, but to her credit, however her performance is, she'll never be as bad as Emma Watson's Belle. You'd be surprised. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with these Disney live-action remakes. Sometimes you think the worst is going to happen, and then suddenly they can bring out something new and something insane. Like, honestly, that's one major thing related to Aladdin that I'm really worried about. I feel like we ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, Emma Watson was really terrible in the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, but who knows what the fridge is going to happen with, like, Aladdin, Lion King, or Maleficent 2, Electric Boogaloo, you know? It's gonna be crazy. Okay, let's see now. Putting stereotypes aside, I never liked We Are Siamese as a song, period. I always found it to be the most boring villain song Disney has ever created, so maybe Janelle Monae can find a way to jazz it up and help me not fall asleep during the particular musical number. Also, Matt, if you want to see Monae as a good performance, I would recommend watching Hidden Figures. Okay, so yeah, like, honestly, I didn't have much, like, I don't really have all that much experience with Janelle Monae as an actress, and maybe it's just because, like, I mean, it's freaking Ugly Dolls. Everybody knows for a fact that, like, it's only made just to go and sell merchandise and stuff like that, so maybe Janelle Monae didn't necessarily care much to put her effort into performing onto that, so, you know, it's just another paycheck. So maybe there is another movie out there that does show her acting skills a lot more prominently. Okay, let's see now. When I was a kid, I never found the Siamese cats from The Lady and the Tramp offensive, and I think that this is coming from a guy who what the fridge? This is coming from a guy who is of Chinese descent. Oh, okay. I kind of enjoyed the Siamese Cat Song, but I am interested in this new, more acceptable version of it. This does make me wonder whether or not they are going to remove the fortune cookie always wrong cat if they ever decide to remake Aristocats. How the fridge can you oh my god. Honestly, I would not be surprised, actually. If this really does become successful, then yeah, the next step they could do is actually Aristocats. And yeah, like, if the chances are they would redo the Aristocats, then yeah, it is a fact that you gotta say goodbye to Fortune Cookie Always Wrong. Which, is it another... Wait, I just realized something. There is a little bit of a connection. Isn't that cat who says that line, isn't he also, like, a Siamese cat? Like, I just realized, like, he had a very similar design to C and M, so... I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a major coincidence, but it's like somehow, like, don't ever bring those freaking cats onto a Disney film, because you never know if they do something stupid or racist. Okay, okay, let's see now. If I have to guess anything about the new song, it could probably be more about the cat's mischievous nature, which would still fit in the Siamese cat's roles as antagonists. Oh yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, there are still ways that you can make the song, that you can make a new version of it, but still keep the spirit of it to present the cats that are more villainous, that they are definitely not trustworthy. Like, you can remove the ching chong element from that song. Like, definitely, there is a way to do it. How they're gonna do it, I honestly don't know. That could be something that we just have to wait and see on. Okay. I think we're pretty much all good with that, so, now that we have completely removed the Ching Chong out of the Siamese Cat Song, just like what Janelle Monae is going to do, I think now it's going to be time that we will jump onto our next story. And this time around, we're going to be going to Disney World. And they have revealed some new little piece of information regarding one little section at Epcot that it has been a long time coming that they need to update, but now they are going to be adding some new things that does seem pretty interesting and seems like a lot of fun to do. I think this is going to be a nice little place to hang out at Epcot if ever anyone wants to have a break. And of course, what I am referring to is going to be the Play Pavilion, the upcoming Play Pavilion, in which there will be some brand new additions related to The Incredibles, Wreck-It Ralph, and of course, Zootopia. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Play Pavilion is going to be the upcoming pavilion that they are going to be opening at Epcot that will be replacing Wonders of Life. Wonders of Life is the yellow dome that you would find at Epcot that for many years actually stayed abandoned, and at the most, if it ever was open, Disney will only use it as a little facility for their little like festivals, like their little flower and garden festivals, or food or wine festivals, or festivals of the art and all that kind of stuff. Like, they never really used it as an actual space like how it was related to educate people about the body and offering some memorable rides, including Body Wars and Cranium Command. But at least now they are doing something new with it. And with this addition, according to my source here, in WDW News Today, they actually went and revealed some of the new additions and some of the new things that you can do within the Play Pavilion. And we're going to start things off with one of the main things that I think could be the main attraction at the Play Pavilion. Animation Academy will return under the guidance of Edna Mode from The Incredibles. Guests will once again be able to learn how to draw Disney characters in this relocated offering that was once housed at the Magic of Disney Animation at Disney's Hollywood Studios. But then there is also another new fun and exclusive thing. We also got Nick and Judy from Zootopia will host an interactive game called Hotel Heist. You can see the entrance to this attraction at the right side of the concept art. And if you go and check out the concept art, which WDW News Today luckily has, like, it's right over here. It's like it says like hotel and probably heist is on the side, which is right underneath this little sign of a sleeping joy emoji from Inside Out. And then, of course, like to emphasize that it is Zootopia, they did put in a little picture of Nick Wilde just walking around. So that's where you can go and find it. It's going to be in the right side of the entire pavilion. But wait, hold on, there is actually more. There's also going to be character meet and greets for Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope, Joy and Sadness from Inside Out, and Baymax from Big Hero 6 should find permanent homes here. So if you want to go and try to find a place where it's going to be a guarantee that you will go and want to try to take pictures and maybe get an autograph from like Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope or Joy and Sadness or Baymax, then it's going to be at that pavilion where it's for sure that you are going to go and find it. Then on top of that, we also got adjacent to the Wreck-It Ralph meet and greet, guests will find an arcade, as well as a play area for toddlers. So even the littlest of kids will have something to do. And even for the older kids, well, there is a fun little arcade that you can go and maybe play some classic games. I'm expecting the arcade is going to be like a bit of a recreation of Wreck-It Ralph's arcade, like the arcade place that is kind of like the home of Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that, that maybe you can go and find actually some classic games that you can actually go and play, like Street Fighter, you can play Pac-Man, you can play Donkey Kong, you can play all that kind of stuff there. And then finally, there is one more thing that they want to try to make it a bit of an event. It says here, as seen in the concept art above, live performers will take to the stage in the very center of the pavilion, roughly where the former Goofy About Health, Making of Me, and anatomical player stages and theaters once stood. So right, like if you look in the concept art, it's going to be right in the center. Like you see this big sign that says, let's play. And then you see like all the people that are happy and dancing and stuff like that. So that's kind of the big thing about it. So I understand that at first it does seem like a place that it doesn't feel all that interesting. It's that, okay, so this is just going to be like a little side area that just offers some small things. It doesn't necessarily sound all that exciting, and it doesn't sound like a place that's going to be gathering up some big lines. But for me personally, I feel like that is actually going to be the best thing about this attraction right there. It's just a little area where you can relax, you can go and have like fun little activities, and it's just a place that you could pretty much wait in the meantime until like you could go into the next big attraction. Because here's the big catch. This thing, like the whole play area, the play pavilion, is going to be open sometime in 2021. Now, 2021, they're expecting some major things to happen. 2021 is going to be Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary, and of course, Disney has some major plans, especially with Epcot, when they're going to go and open also some major attractions as well, including Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is going to be in the France Pavilion, and then you also got the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. Now, I'm sure that one is going to be a massive deal, is going to be a big each ticket attraction that's going to make some giant lines. And this is already on top of the attractions that are pretty popular all around Epcot as well. Like Soarin' is a ride that would make huge lines. Mission Space is a pretty popular thrill ride. And then, of course, like Test Track is also another big name Epcot attraction. And I know that technically there are some other smaller rides that people could wait in the meantime, you know, like Spaceship Earth itself, Journey into Imagination with Figment. But this new addition right over here, I feel like I know for a fact that in the future, when the Play Pavilion will open, it's going to be a place where it's going to be a time when everything is going to have some huge lineups, that you're going to see like 2-hour lines for rides like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, for Test Track, for the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, and for all that kind of stuff. So at least there is a little place that people can actually go, they can relax, and they can wait before it is time for their fast pass to actually go and get onto the attraction, you know? It's a good little placeholder that gives people some activities that they could do in order to go and wait until they can go into the big attractions. I think that's a beautiful thing, and especially with the play area, they offer so many of these fun little things, and admittedly, what I love the most is that not only do you go and get some new stuff and you get like little meet and greets, but also there are aspects of it that they have recycled from things that are no longer there anymore. Like the fact that the magic of Disney animation, it's no longer at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is kind of sad. But they are bringing back Animation Academy because they know that that little aspect is still pretty popular. So, of course, they're going to go and bring that onto Disney. They're going to bring that back onto the Play Pavilion, which I think is actually pretty cool. And then also, like, you got the arcade area, which in a way, you could see that as a bit of a little revival from what was already done at Disney Quest. Now, Disney Quest, you could say, is kind of like a whole giant arcade in itself, and I'm not necessarily expecting that they're going to go and bring back, like, the huge attractions and, like, the huge exclusive things that they try to do, like the Jungle Cruise Virtual Adventure or the Pirates of the Caribbean thing. I'm expecting, it's going to be a bit of a throwback to, like, the old school arcade that they had. I remember there was one area on Disney Quest where it was literally filled with, like, the classic arcade stuff, like Dragon's Lair, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, and all those classic games right over there. So that is a little bit of a throwback, and that's what I find to be pretty cool, is that they are recycling old ideas and they are bringing them back in some form. So it really does goes to show that great ideas just never die. And, at least they do found a new home at Epcot, even though it's no longer at Disney Springs or Disney Hollywood Studios. At least, like, it is something that people could do at Epcot. So overall, this is something that I see, and I find this to be pretty cool. It's a small thing, but Epcot would need a small thing in order to accommodate for the big things that are going to be coming over. And especially with the additions of, like, the Wreck-It Ralph stuff, having Edna Mode host the Animation Academy, and then also, like, you got the Zootopia game, the Hotel Heist. Honestly, I find this to be really nice and really smart of Disney to actually add something that's just gonna be small. It's just gonna be simple, it's small, it's just a little wait area before you go into the next big things. That's kind of the point of it, and, I feel like, it's nice, and, I feel pretty optimistic about this one. Sure, it's not, like, a big must-go into thing, but that's kind of, like, the whole point of it. Now, with that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall right now, and I'm going to ask, what do you all think about the Play Pavilion right now with the addition of Edna Mode, with Zootopia and all that kind of stuff? How do you all feel about this? Is it something that you guys would be excited to go and check out? Do you guys think it's not that much, that you would give it a pass? Let me know what you all think regarding this situation. I would like to know, what are your opinions on this one? Oh boy, we don't really have much opinions. Like, it's just, some people are like, yeah, it's alright. Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, it's cool. Like, I don't even have full sentences. It's like, just people looking at it going, it's just like, yeah, it's alright. Holy crap, okay. So we have, what the fridge is this? One of the more, okay. I think someone in the chat wall copied and pasted their homework on this. One of the more important empress women in all of Roman history. It's like, what the fridge are you talking about? This is the Play Pavilion at Epcot. What are you talking about? Empresses in Roman history? What the fridge? I'm not making fun of you, dude. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's random. It's like, holy crap, this is the last thing I expected in my chat wall, is a Roman empress, like, talking about Roman history. It's like, what the fridge? Alright, anyways, let's get back into it. When I first set foot at the Disney parks in Florida in 2012, I enjoy them very much, but I would rank Epcot as my least favorite of them. However, because of these changes, I might have to rethink that when I step foot there once again. Oh, yeah. Like, I can guarantee you, when we're gonna enter in the 2020 decade, Disney has some big plans to completely reboot Epcot. Like, I know, like, they know very well, a lot of people look at Epcot and they think, like, eh. So that's what they want to try to make sure to completely change all that, to really make it an exciting place for people to go. Alright, let's see now. I also like the Guardians of the Galaxy will get a representation there, since I love those movies. And I like the idea of an art class, and I love the fact that guests will be able to learn to draw Disney characters. I love drawing. Exactly. It's something that a lot of people really do love. These animation academies is a massive fan favorite, and Disney knows that it's something they can't really remove. So I feel like it's a nice thing that they are bringing that back in some form. Sure, it's not at Disney's Hollywood Studios anymore, but at least there is a place where they can go and draw Disney characters. Okay, I think with all that said and done, we are going to go on to our next story. And I will say right now, we are officially complete with all the different Disney news that we have. And for our next one, we're going to be jumping into a different brand altogether. We're going to go from Disney to Warner Brothers, and we shall be discussing one of their upcoming animated films, which is the computer-animated Scooby-Doo movie called Scoob. And from there, it's honestly pretty interesting, the things that they are offering right now, because, let's be honest, at this point, it's no longer a Scooby-Doo movie. They're actually going in a completely different direction where it's less Scooby-Doo and a lot more Hanna-Barbera altogether. And I'm talking, of course, about Mark Wahlberg and Jason Isaacs coming on board to the animated film. But like I said before, they're not going to be Scooby-Doo characters. They're actually going to be playing other Hanna-Barbera characters. So I'm going to go and read from my source here. I'm just going to go and, Here, I think this will work out a little bit better so that for people watching this, you'll have a clear vision of what this is. So I'm going to read my source here from Deadline. As it says, Mark Wahlberg is going to be playing the role of Blue Falcon, a superhero from the Hanna-Barbera canon who teamed up with Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang to fight against his arch-nemesis, Mr. Hyde. Blue Falcon's right hand was Dino-Mutt, who in the feature animated pic will be voiced by Ken Jeong. And for those of you who are raised in the 90s, some of you might actually remember Blue Falcon. He actually made a cameo appearance at one point. Well, not necessarily a cameo. He was a special guest in one of the episodes of Dexter's Lab, where Dexter teamed up with the Blue Falcon, and they decided to give Dino-Mutt a bit of an upgrade, where Dino-Mutt became like too strong for himself and became a little too serious, so they have to go and fight at the same time, fight against Dino-Mutt and save Dino-Mutt at the same time so that he can get back to his old self. I forgot the name of the episode, but I remember that was a thing at one point that Dexter teamed up with Blue Falcon. But then we got Jason Isaacs, which it says here. Here we go. Just go from here. That Jason Isaacs will portray twirling mustache villain Dick Dastardly, who is reported to be the main baddie in Scoob. Dick is a duplicitous car racer and pilot whose vehicles are known to carry various bombs and traps. He, too, has a right-hand dog with the scruffy giggler Muttley. Dick appeared in such Hanna-Barbera series as Wacky Races and its spin-off Dastardly and Muttley in their Flying Machines. Now, Mark Wahlberg and Jacob Isaacs, they will be joining the cast, which will include Zac Efron playing as Fred, Amanda Seyfried as Daphne, Gina Rodriguez as Velma, Will Forte as Shaggy, Frank Welker as Scooby-Doo, Tracy Morgan as Captain Caveman, and Kiersey Clemens as Dee Dee Sykes. So from there, already like I said before, as you can see right over here, this is not going to be your average Scooby-Doo movie. They are planning something way bigger than that. Now, it is well known already that basically what Warner Brothers wants to do is that they really want to completely reboot Hanna-Barbera as a franchise and actually go and create a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. And it seems like the first big step is with this one, with Scoob. And from there, it doesn't look like they want to try to make it like a standalone thing. It's not just with Scooby-Doo. Like, now they're going to be adding in other characters. And the first clue that we really got that was actually the first time when the cast was actually revealed. Now, when they revealed the cast with Zac Efron, with Will Forte, with Tracy Morgan, and all those people, I didn't cover it in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, mainly because it happened back when I was on vacation, when I was in Mexico, and all that stuff actually happened. I remember it was a little bit controversial back then because there were some people that were upset of the fact that the original voice actors or the actors who would play the characters in all the animated projects like Matthew Lillard or Grey DeLise or like even Frank Welker, they don't have the opportunity to play their respective characters. In fact, it was kind of a weird thing that they would let Frank Welker play Scooby-Doo, but they wouldn't play him as Fred, whom he has done since the very beginning of the franchise. For considering that Scooby-Doo is going to be turning 50, like, he's been doing Fred for, like, 50 years. So that is kind of a weird thing and a little bit controversial, but it did pass really quick. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. There was something a little bit odd. Like, the weirdest thing that came out of that news was the fact that they got Tracy Morgan to play the role of Captain Caveman. And Captain Caveman, as you guys probably know, that's not a Scooby-Doo character. Captain Caveman did not come from Scooby-Doo. Captain Caveman came from one of the spiritual successors of Scooby-Doo when Hanna-Barbera really tried to bank that hard. And basically the show is, instead of like the mystery gang, you got like 3 teenage girls, and like instead of Scooby-Doo, you got Captain Caveman, which is like this really hairy guy that's also like a superhero, and that's essentially what he is. It's a like a superhero caveman, and like you might even remember his catchphrase like, Captain Caveman! I remember in my Hanna-Barbera days, like when I would watch a lot of those, like I do, like Captain Caveman is definitely one of the more recognizable guys, and the fact that he was added into the cast with the Scooby-Doo people, like, that was at the point when I was there, I was like, wait, what the fridge is going on? Like, you're not just doing Scooby-Doo. Why are we adding other Hanna-Barbera characters into this? And then, that's when I'm starting, and then at this point, I think this is confirmed that this is not a Scooby-Doo movie. They really want to make a massive Hanna-Barbera crossover, especially the fact that, like, Dick Dastardly is going to be the main villain of all this. Like, it even stated here that he's going to be the main baddie in Scoob, instead of, like, some of the classic Scooby-Doo villains that you would find in the series. So, it's going to be a lot more than that, and especially, like, now we're adding in superheroes like Captain Caveman, and even Blue Falcon with Dynamite. Like, this is going to be a pretty interesting direction, and, like, keep in mind, we don't have an idea of what the plot is going to be. So far, we only know about the characters that have been added. We know the Scooby-Doo gang is going to be there, but also for some reason, we got Captain Caveman, we got one of his girls, Dee Dee Skies. Now we got the Blue Falcon with Dynamite, and we got Dick Dastardly as the villain. That's the one thing I really want to know. And as someone who was a fan of Hanna-Barbera, and, you know, I still kind of am, I really do appreciate the works of Hanna-Barbera, like, that's the one thing I want to know. Like, what the fridge is the direction that you want to take with Scoob? What the fridge are you doing? Like, we're at the point where it does seem pretty interesting, the fact that they're adding all these characters, but what's going to be the purpose? What's the plot? Like, that's what I want to know. What's the plot? What direction are you going to be going with this? So far, I'll just say right now, it doesn't necessarily seem like we are going to see a release date coming out of it. It has not been confirmed so far. I think it was originally for 2020, but they have delayed it and stuff like that. I don't know. But so far, this is something that for someone who loves Hanna-Barbera, I need to keep my eye on this. I want to know, what are they going to do right over here? What are they going to do with the characters? How are they going to interpret them? What are you doing, guys? I really want to know. What the fridge is the goal with this by bringing all these Hanna-Barbera characters in this movie? I don't know. I think this is going to be crazy, but honestly, I'll just keep my hopes up and we'll see what happens. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall right over here, and I want to know from you guys, what do you think about the new additions like the Blue Falcon and Dick Dastardly in Scoob? What do you think of the fact that this is going to be much more than just a Scooby-Doo movie, but also a major Hanna-Barbera reboot crossover? Let me know what you guys think, because this is getting interesting. Okay. Do you think Scoob will be CGI or hand-drawn? Also, the news definitely will make the movie sound interesting. I just have to wait until the trailer comes out. I hope Dick Dastardly will be played by Jim Carrey or Steve Carell. Okay, well, dude, I don't know if you have been listening, but it's gonna be Jason Isaacs. Jason Isaacs is gonna be playing Dick Dastardly. And I mean, like, if you want Jim Carrey to play Dick Dastardly, we just saw him last week playing Dick Dastardly in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, so I'm just saying. But yeah, but it has also been confirmed that yes, it will be computer animated, but there was a leaked image just showing Scooby-Doo, and so far, it looks like it's going to stay very true to the original design. Like, Scooby actually does look very good from the leak, if that is a real leak over there. Let's see. Right over here. I love the overall idea of this film with the Infinity War meets Spider-Verse concept, the design of Scooper Dubert himself, and the cast taking sort of a Christopher Robin type deal with Frank Welker returning to play the big star among actors like Zac Efron and Will Forte. We'll definitely check this one out. Yeah, that could actually be the case. Maybe they're planning some kind of like Spider-Verse Infinity War style crossover with this thing. Like, that could be the interesting idea. I would like to know, what is Warner Brothers' idea of how they're going to bring all these characters together? Because honestly, I would flip out if this ultimately leads to a Laugh Olympics movie, because one of my favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoons was Laugh Olympics. If they're planning to go and make that, holy crap, I might probably freak out. Okay, let's see right over here. What else do we got? This sounds interesting, like a crossover idea. I like the crossover idea. I like when Scooby-Doo crosses over with characters like with the TV show New Scooby-Doo movies, as well as Johnny Bravo. It sounds like it will be a fun movie, and I'm looking forward to it, especially since I love Scooby-Doo. I hope they will make an animated Flintstones movie and an animated Jetsons movie afterwards. Oh yeah, like, I think I can guarantee you for a fact, if Scoob ends up being successful, there will be Flintstones. There will be Jetsons. I mean, like, those are the two most popular Hanna-Barbera shows, so they got it. So, like, if Scooby-Doo ends up becoming a hit, then, of course, we will definitely see more of them. And, yeah, like, the crossover, and of course, like, Scooby-Doo, you do bring up a very good point that Scooby-Doo does have a very prominent history with crossing over with not just other cartoons, but with celebrities as well. Like, we've seen Scooby-Doo cross over with Batman, with Don Knotts. I think, like, maybe this is not true, but maybe the Osmonds. I wouldn't be surprised if they have. I remember they did cross over with the Addams Family. So, and of course, like, we've seen Scooby-Doo cross over, like, with other Hanna-Barbera characters. Like I said, Scooby-Doo is known as, like, one of the main mascots of the blue, Scooby-Doo is the main mascot of the blue team for the Laugh Olympics. So we've seen Scooby-Doo cross over, like, with all the other Hanna-Barbera characters before. It's not necessarily anything new. But seeing this in this day and age, with the way that Warner Brothers wants to reboot Hanna-Barbera, I think this is honestly something that I feel like is going to be interesting and see how they're going to go with this. Let's see now. If Scrappy-Doo ever does appear in this film, I hope he gets redeemed as a character that doesn't make him hated. And this is coming from someone who actually likes Scrappy. Oh, that does explain it. Oh, that does explain it. Well, it's going to be hard to really redeem him after what we have seen in the Scooby-Doo movie, where we decided to reject him when Scrappy pees on Daphne. Oh, God. Scrappy is a mess of a character. I'll just lay it out there. Okay, but I think with all that said and done, I think we're pretty much good with this story. And now it is time that we shall move on to the grand finale. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, guys. Hold on, I just need to prepare myself with this. Okay, yeah, that hits the spot. Now, the thing is, the grand finale that I got here, it's going to be a bonus miscellaneous. And this is going to be related to some YouTube drama. Now, I know some people are not necessarily fans of YouTube drama, and I'm not trying to become this, YouTube drama channel. It's just that with this piece of news right over here, it's just too hard to ignore about it, and I feel like this is just absolutely insane. It is just too crazy to the point that it's hard for me to not talk about it. Yes, even though that we are not at the halfway point at 2019, we seem to already have a top contender of the most controversial YouTuber of the year. And ladies and gentlemen, that award might go to ProJared. Yes, folks, Jared Knobbenbauer, aka ProJared, right now is under massive controversy for soliciting sexually explicit photos or soliciting nude photos from fans. So that seems to be the big allegation, that seems to be the big controversy where Jared is currently in major trouble right now. So the big question is, what the fridge is going on? What the fridge has happened? What is all this? Where did it all begin? Okay, well, here's the thing. Let me tell you one epic story. It all started in the middle of the week when Jared made the announcement, a vague announcement, that he is going to be filing a divorce with his wife, well, now ex-wife, the popular cosplayer Heidi O'Farrell. Now, on his tweet, when he mentioned it, he wasn't necessarily specific in terms of what happened. He mostly gave out the typical excuse. It's like, oh, we just feel like things didn't really work out. We went through some individual therapy and couples therapy and stuff like that, and well, I don't think it works out, and I think it's for the best for both of us to go and split. And that's the thing, that we need some time to recuperate and all that kind of stuff. So, he was pretty much vague about the whole thing. But then it's Heidi's turn. When he made that announcement, it is Heidi who has to jump in and explain everything regarding what happened. And the problem is all Jared. She posted out a tweet explaining everything, going into detail about what happened, and well, I won't fully be quoting it. I'll censor myself, of course. But I recently learned that my husband, ProJared, had been banging Holly Conrad behind my back for months. I have no idea what announcement he just made because he blocked me, sharing a picture of her ex-husband, completely blocking her on Twitter. And for those of you who don't necessarily know Holly Conrad, she actually is a bit of an internet personality herself. You might actually know her a little bit more as the bird-loving Commander Holly, who was once the wife of Ross O'Donovan, also known as Rubber Ross, the animator who also makes appearances on Game Grumps. And from this tweet, and by the way, just a little bit on a side note relating to Ross's thing. Now, the divorce between Ross and Holly, this is a completely separate thing. This happened many months ago, not related to this controversy right over here. So Ross doesn't have anything involved in this situation. So I just want to emphasize that right over there. Now, going back into this scenario right over here, Heidi would go into detail about the scenario about regarding how she discovered that Jared had been having an affair with Holly. And on top of that, she would also describe into detail that the relationship and the marriage had been very abusive, that Jared had been very abusive towards Hailey, emotionally abusive specifically, that whatever problem that there is related to the marriage or whatever problem there is in general, Jared would just immediately go and pin the blame on Heidi. That it's always her fault, that there are issues with the marriage, and that she's breaking this relationship apart and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much the big thing. So like pretty much the vague answer, but on Heidi's Twitter account, she really does go deep into it, and I'll just say right now that it really is heartbreaking to go and read. But with all that said, okay, sure, there is some infidelity going on related to the marriage, and that's why it kind of broke up. So what does this have to do with the accusation of soliciting nude photos from fans? Well, for that regard, I'm going to go and read from my source here, The Verge, and explain to you a little bit about relating to what is going on with that whole thing. Now, Heidi would go and would describe into detail about that whole thing, as she says, Nabenbauer had been requesting nude photos from fans for years. In the beginning, it was a joke on Tumblr, meant to consenting adults, she writes. But eventually, O'Farrell says it turned into an abuse of power for him to intentionally manipulate anyone to show him their naked body on the basis that he is a popular internet man. So basically, the fact that, oh, I'm a popular YouTube guy, I have 1 million subscribers, so he uses that to his advantage in order to go and manipulate his fans to show them their private parts, to go and send them nude pictures. But what makes this one very serious is that a couple of those people turned out to be underage. Now, ever since Heidi revealed this whole story, there have been numerous of fans who would share their story related to how Jared would manipulate them in showing them their naked body parts and share them on social media for Jared's own twisted sexual satisfaction. But there are a couple of guys who came in with their story, revealing the information about like how they went through their experience, and they are underage. One of them was 15 and one of them was 16. And apparently it was something that even Jared knew, and he didn't mind. He thought, you know what, the better, because it's easy to manipulate younger people. And from there, there was a couple of these people, like in the Verge article, they named one of the people as Chai. Now, Chai really went into detail about this, and yeah, like you could see the whole process, and it shares the same stories as many of the others in this case. And from there, it shows like the process of the ways that Jared would manipulate the people in order to go and get these nude photos, to convince them that, oh, you know what, you know, you're sexy, your body is great, show me your naked pics, and all, you know, send nudes and all that kind of crap. And it really does go really dark and really twisted. Yeah, and I know, like, some people are saying this is making me uncomfortable. Yeah, it's making everyone uncomfortable. In fact, this is a scenario that is really serious, to the point that Normal Boots, which is the website that has a whole bunch of content creators all together, it's pretty much similar to Channel Awesome in a way, but with Normal Boots, it's a group of gaming YouTubers like PeanutButterGamer, Gerard the Completionist, ProJared, Did You Know Gaming, First, and all those guys, like, they would be together in this one little hub. And from there, they have responded by this, and they put out a big statement related to this massive controversy, and I'll read it to you here. On April 4th, 2019, An unsolicited email was sent to the Normal Boots business account containing allegations of inappropriate conduct pertaining to Jared Knobbenbauer. Upon receiving the email, Normal Boots manager Jacques Khalil took immediate action to alert the appropriate parties, including Mr. Knobbenbauer and the Normal Boots legal team, of the allegations. No other members of Normal Boots were made aware of the allegations while the investigation into the allegation was... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, is everything okay? Yeah, sorry. Are we fine? Okay, sorry about that. I just noticed that there was a little, like, glitchy thing that was happening on the Tumblr account. Anyways, going back to what I was saying. Yeah. No other members of Normal Boots were made aware of the allegations while the investigation into the allegations was ongoing. Normal Boots understand the seriousness of the situation and does not condone any of the alleged actions of Mr. Knobbenbauer. Prior to the allegations being made public, actions and measures were in process to terminate the affiliation of Mr. Knobbenbauer from Normal Boots and to update its internal social media use policies. Mr. Knobbenbauer and Normal Boots have mutually agreed to part ways. What drives Normal Boots is the excuse me. Anyways, what drives Normal Boots is the energy of our supporters. We care greatly about their protection and safety. It's impossible to have a true community if all of us don't feel safe, whether if it's an online space or a convention. We are fully committed to this goal and will not tolerate less. Now, from all this, there have been some consequences as well. The only thing, now I'll just say right now that the only thing that Jared has posted regarding this, it's stated right here. So far, Knobbenbauer has not publicly responded to the allegations. In his initial statement about the divorce from O'Farrell, he noted that people may see a lot of rumors, speculations, and gossip going around. I ask that you make your own observations and come to your own conclusions. Oh, let me tell ya, dude. People have certainly came with their own conclusions. And, Jared, it does seem that you are guilty. So much so that it is this is legitimately destroying his career from what I'm seeing. Game Grumps, in which Jared has made some, he made some appearances on Game Grumps. The YouTube channel Game Grumps, they immediately responded by deleting every single video that does include Jared as a special guest star. So those videos are pretty much gone right now. But then you go and check out his YouTube channel. Oh god, like you go on Social Blade and oh god, it's going down. Now I just want to say right now, before the controversy happened, he was at over 1 million subscribers, like 1,033,000 subs. He was actually pretty big. He actually made it to the top and actually crossed the 1 million mark. Nowadays though, oh god, it went down. It went massively down, where as I am recording this, as I am showing to you this live right now, he has so far, in a matter of just 3 days, lost more than 170,000 subscribers. 170,000 subs. More than 170,000 subs. Keep in mind, in just 3 days. With Channel Awesome, you gotta keep in mind, the thing with Channel Awesome, like you might remember last year with the whole change to channel controversy, they only lost 64,000 subscribers in a matter of just, like, over a month. Jared, 3 days, lost like 100, he lost nearly a fifth of all of his subscribers. And he was once at over 1 million subs. Now he's only at 850,000. Now, granted, part of the reason is also because of the fact that on his YouTube channel, he doesn't really have much. Like when you look at his YouTube channel, literally, he only posted one video this year, and it's been like months since he has posted that one, and that's pretty much it. So it was a very inactive channel. There wasn't like, he wasn't very active much. He wasn't posting any videos, so that would also play a major factor onto how he was just losing subscribers and how his sub count like really dipped hard, where again he lost nearly a fifth of his subscriber count, and who knows if it's going to go any lower, because once like other YouTubers are going to come in and talk about their piece on it, oh boy, then like the ball is going to keep rolling and he's going to keep losing subscribers. Like, there are some people are pointing out that, you know, they're waiting for the moment about, you know, maybe we're going to wait and see if it is possible that like someone like the Right Opinion is going to make a commentary about this, which most likely he will, but honestly, like once other YouTubers are going to cover this controversy, like we're going to see this even dip lower than that. He's gonna, like, this sub count is gonna go down. And also, like, what's even more amazing is the fact that in one day, literally the day after that he announced his divorce and that Heidi revealed everything about why the divorce happened and the infidelity of Jared, he lost over 100,000 subscribers, which I can imagine is a nightmare scenario for any freaking YouTuber out there. Like, already, Jared already lost nearly twice as much subscribers that I have right now. It's honestly kind of insane. But on top of that, if that wasn't enough for the controversy, there is still more about it. Now, the thing is that, of course, it's nearly unanimous of the fact that people feel like Jared is the real bad guy in here. But of course, you do have a few of his supporters. But mainly, these supporters would be his buddies down at Normal Boots. And oh god, are they added into the controversy as well. Where we actually got a comment from First, where he would say, where after he mentioned about the divorce and Heidi revealed all of the like the things that Jared has done, First would come in and he would respond to Jared saying, "Love you, bud." Oh, but what's even stupider though, if you want to see something that's even far worse, take a look at PeanutButterGamer. Oh my god. It's not just that he went to go and show his support to Jared. It was more the fact that he went to Heidi. Like, Heidi went and revealed all the things about Jared regarding the factor, actually, could you give me a second? I just need to fix up one little thing first. Okay. Sorry, just had to fix up a little quick thing. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Yes, the thing with PeanutButterGamer, he, like, after Heidi revealed that Jared cheated on her with Holly Conrad, after the emotional abuse she went through, somehow, PeanutButterGamer decided to have the freaking balls to go in front of her and ask, "This ain't it, Chief? Don't you think this is a bad idea?" Apparently, like, coming out about your emotional abuse, somehow Austin decided to come in going, "Nah, this ain't it, Chief." Like, what the fridge is this? Are you freaking kidding me? But I will say right now, because of the idiocy of PeanutButterGamer making that simple-minded comment after saying that to a woman who pretty much let everything out regarding the abuse she went through and the fact that the person that she once trusted with her life, that apparently he cheated on her, like, PeanutButterGamer is also paying the price. Not necessarily as bad as, not as bad as, ProJared, of course, but he did, like, his subscribers did go down by 15,000 subscribers. Again, not as bad, but yeah, like, he was at one point at over 2 million subs. Now that ended up taking away from him, so yeah, I'll just say, the only comment that I could say to PeanutButterGamer, you know, when you made that comment to Heidi, didn't you think that it was a bad idea? Because I'll say right now, saying that to her, this ain't it, Chief. So, yeah, basically, that's pretty much the entire mess that we are seeing right now. The fact that ProJared has really been, he has been very disloyal to who was once his wife, and now being accused of these things and all that, holy crap. You can understand the magnitude of this controversy. How this is just entirely insane. How, just the sheer magnitude of, it's just one layer of madness on top of the other. It's you got the cheating aspect, you got the abuse aspect, and then, you got how he's treating his fans, the way he's manipulating his fans, and then you got the other Normal Boots contributors supporting ProJared even after all this got revealed, and all that kind of stuff. Holy crap. No wonder the internet blew up and just went insane right over this. Okay, so at this point right over here, apparently we did get an update that, it seemed like PeanutButterGamer did apologize for making that comment. Oh, okay. Well, at least he realized that what he did was freaking wrong, so. Okay. So, there's a lot of layers to this. And I think it's probably best that we need to go and dissect this one by one right over here. And I'll save the biggest and nastiest one for last. And I'll just start things off by asking Jared, dude, what is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? What led, why did you even consider the idea of, being unfaithful to your wife? Why would you even go to that level of even considering to cheat on her with freaking Holly Conrad? Why do you even consider cheating to be a good idea? Why? Listen, I'm not necessarily someone who is all that much experienced in terms of relationships, but I know the difference between what is right and what is wrong in terms of being in a relationship. And this right over here? Seriously, what is wrong with you? What led you to do this? And especially the abuse, man. What the hell is with all this abuse? Why the hell do you treat her this way? What made you realize that it was a good idea to treat the person that you considered the love of your life, the person that you would devote your entire life to, and treat her this way? Why? Seriously, man. Is there, instead of just talking this out, instead of, instead of, finding ways for help, instead of, trying to make things work out, or, try to find a mutual agreement, first of all, you decided to go into the dark route. You decided to go into this, where you decide to do all the nasty things and pin all the blame on her. What the hell? Are you trying to exercise your freaking male privilege on this? Are you trying to be the dominant one on that relationship? What the hell is wrong with you, man? Just on that aspect alone, you messed up. And there's no way around it. I'm not expressing my opinion. This is a fact that you messed up. Objectively, you are totally in the wrong. That this is not Heidi's fault. This is all on you, dude. Jesus balls, man. Seriously. What is your thinking process of all this? Why? Why are you, why are you even freaking okay with this? But then also on top of that, you could see the element of the other, Normal Boots people when they tried to defend ProJared, when they tried to join onto his side. And, this tweet right over here from, Claypot actually brought up a very interesting point of the factor that when it came to JonTron and his controversy, everybody turned their back on him. But then when it's ProJared, they gotta go and defend him immediately. Now, the one thing that I just want to point out is that it is true that, there is no denying what JonTron did in the past, with those comments. that was entirely wrong. No one should side with JonTron in terms of the comments that he made. They are absolutely racist, and it made him look like a complete bigot and a nationalist. And no one should be a nationalist or a bigot. It is not okay whatsoever. And JonTron did deserve to be like publicly shamed for it, to have his career be damaged by it, and to have like a permanent scar, to be viewed as like kind of this white nationalist YouTuber that understands nothing about politics and should never speak about politics with the kind of nationalist ideologies that he has. That really, this is someone who would spread false information and conspiracy theories that really ended up screwing him over. Now, this is something that nobody should go and support. And by the way, just on an immediate side note, I have seen a lot of people that decided to go and take this ProJared controversy, and it really ended up messing up even more, where they decided to go and take this controversy and decide to pursue to go and try to enable their own political agenda. There have been reports that some JonTron fans decided to go and take this and say that it was okay for JonTron to make those racist comments, but not ProJared for doing this. Or trying to frame, ProJared, because apparently he had he does follow some feminist ideologies, and tried to use that to show that feminists are worse than all mass shooters, and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to say right now that in terms of this controversy, this has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. Because the thing is that we are talking about a situation where there are actually some individuals who have been abused and who have been manipulated. There are a lot of people in this scenario who are hurt in here. And if you are intending to take all that and decided to go and try to use it in order to go and manipulate people to spread your political ideologies, to spread your political beliefs and stuff like that, then that really does show that you seriously do not care about anyone in the situation. You don't care about Heidi, you don't care about ProJared, you don't care about anyone whatsoever. You only care about yourself and spreading your own political beliefs. And that is just wrong. So in this regard, regarding this controversy, for the respect of everyone, keep your politics to yourself, because no one wants to hear about it, you simple-minded moron. So I just want to lay it out right over there that this has nothing to do with politics whatsoever, and we should not make this about politics any way, shape, or form. And the funny thing is that related to JonTron, in terms of this controversy, some people want to try to bring him up, but the truth is, JonTron actually did the smart thing right over here. He actually backed out of it. I don't think he has yet to actually make a full-on comment about it. So on that regard, I just want to say that, funny enough, JonTron is one of the people over here that at this point, yeah, he does seem like he actually does look good in comparison. He's so far in a better position right now than PeanutButterGamer or ProJared or First or any of those guys. So for once, JonTron is doing something right here. So, congratulations to John, and keep it up, But anyways, going back to what I was talking about in this scenario, honestly, when I saw this unfurl, when I saw the whole thing with all of Normal Boots being involved with people like ProJared and PeanutButterGamer and First, honestly, I look at this and it did make me look back. And honestly, it just gave me a bit of a thought that I realized, you know what? With all the things with Channel Awesome and with Normal Boots and stuff like that, these, these creator hubs, these creator collectives, bringing all these reviewers and put them in this one small group, like I said, with Channel Awesome or Normal Boots or whatever, I'm starting to realize that as time moves on, this is honestly a really, 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 really bad idea. That whole thing, Channel Awesome and Normal Boots in general, it's a freaking mistake. Because the thing is that yeah, you group all these reviewers together, and there may be some good intentions with them, and I do understand that, yeah, it is true that a lot of friendships and even a lot of love came from, like, making these little groups. But the problem is that one small thing, one little mistake, or one bad apple can pretty much destroy the entire foundation. It can pretty much ruin everything. And this doesn't just limit to the big ones, like with Channel Awesome or with Normal Boots. Even the smaller ones cannot get away from that. I already talked about my piece with Mr. Coat and the toxicity from Mr. Coat himself and some of the individuals from his fan base. And then there was also RVT, or Reviewtopia, where years ago they had their big piece of controversy that nearly destroyed themselves. And there are a few others as well, like Agni Booth or Manic Expression and all those kinds of websites. But the point that I'm making here is that, like, honestly, the more that I see the drama unfurl related to these websites, the more that I realize that they are just terrible ideas. They really are just, you know, they really are just a mistake. And it's really for the best that we just go, like, every man for himself on YouTube. And, like, we can make friends, but let's not try to make these big, ambitious, collaborative websites like that. You know, never again, because they're all just terrible ideas. Oh, my God. But, yeah. But anyways, going back to what I was talking about, I think, like, the only thing that's missing to discuss here is probably the biggest controversy of them all, is the accusations regarding soliciting nude photos from fans. Now, keep in mind, this is just allegations. These are just accusations right now, so there is still a chance that it is false. But I'll be very honest right now. In my opinion, we are seeing a lot more people bring up some information regarding this, and the more people who bring up some info, the more that it's becoming more and more and more and more true. And I can tell you right now, Jared is in frickin' trouble. And in the case right over here, it's not just the fact that he would be manipulating viewers in terms of, like, sending him nude photos and stuff like that. I think really the one thing that really could kill off his career entirely is the fact that a couple of them are actually underage, and how those people actually did go into detail. And the fact is, considering that they are underage, considering that they have been manipulated to send him nude photos, the worst case scenario that I can imagine, Jared is going to prison. Like, ProJared is legit going to be going to jail for soliciting these nude photos, and because he got a few of them that are like 15 and 16, he's gone. He's going to be going to prison. Because this has actually happened before. In fact, it actually stated right over here that it did happen recently. Hold on a sec. Just going to read from The Verge. With the alleged behaviors took place across multiple online platforms, they speak to the troubled platforms like YouTube face in protecting younger users from the fandom that can make them vulnerable to a predatory adult. Just last week, popular YouTuber Austin Jones was sentenced to 10 years in prison for soliciting sexually explicit photos for underage fans. So from there, this is going to be the same case with Jared. It's not all that different. Now, I know some people could say, well, technically it's just 2 people that are underage and that's it. But then again, all it takes is just 2 people, and worst case, like, Jared could be following the same footsteps as Austin Jones if he's not careful, or if this ends up, like, getting reported to the police and all that kind of stuff. If that ends up happening, then worst case scenario, we're going to see Jared in prison. But either way, like, even if he doesn't go to jail, he's already in a massively terrible position where it's going to be extremely difficult, not impossible, but extremely difficult to get himself out of. This is a whole, like, debatably, some people could say this is a hole far bigger than what JonTron did. Because, like, with the JonTron controversy, yeah, objectively what he said is wrong and very bigoted. But you still got those psychopathic people that are still gonna be siding with JonTron and agree with the things that he said, even though they are factually false. But in the case of Jared right over here, it's pretty much unanimous that he is currently the most hated YouTuber right now, like, down to the levels of, like, the Paul brothers. And, like, even though the rate of, like, his subscriber count, like, losing subs and stuff like that, it is, like, becoming slower. I don't know. It's just that he has to do a whole lot in order to try to regain his trust with his audience, because honestly, with all the things that he is being accused of, it's just absolutely insane. And for now, he really is gonna get the heat, rather it be just full-on public shame, or if it even is like actually going to prison. So far, like, I can safely say right now, Jared is in massive trouble. But I think if there is one thing that, if I can conclude this story, and I just want to end off on a bit of a positive note. And on top of that, I just want to go and give a little bit of a moral, because there is a little bit of something that we need to learn from all this. Because it's true that we can have some lessons regarding what's going on right over here, and stuff that even I can learn. And the thing is that from all that is happening, infidelity, no matter how you view it, it's never the right answer. And what Heidi went through, and how Jared treated Heidi, no one deserves to go through this. You know, no one ever. Heidi doesn't deserve this. And even if the roles were reversed, that Heidi is the one that's abusing Jared and, cheating on him and all that stuff, like, not even Jared would deserve that. Nobody deserves the kind of treatment that Heidi would go through, okay? It's never fun. So and honestly, from there, I really do wish Heidi the best in all this. I really do hope that things can go a little bit more positively for her. And yeah, even though, like, she's got to go through a rough road, like, now being divorced and all that kind of stuff, I do wish her the best of luck, and that things can go a lot more positively for her. And considering that, like, she is a well-known cosplayer, like, she would need all the support that she does, or all the support that she needs, not because of just this controversy, but I mean, like, you look at the things that she has done, you look at her cosplays and stuff like that, she really is very talented as a cosplayer. Like, here are some pictures of her as Zelda from Twilight Princess, and I mean, my god, like, the costume is amazing, and like, even I'll admit, she really is a pretty girl. Like, honestly, like, if a girl like her would ask me out on a date, like, I would be like, yes, please. Okay, well, no, I wouldn't do that. That would just sound a little creepy, but you get what I mean. She really is a pretty girl, and she does not deserve this, and nobody deserves this. So honestly, I really do wish her the best of luck in all this. And I will even say, like, even for Jared and even for Holly, I think it is safe to say that, yeah, these two individuals right now, they are mentally sick. Like, they really are sick in the head, and that there is something wrong with them if they really do feel like the best idea is to just go, like, really do this, to betray their good, to betray someone who was either considered a good friend or once considered a great love to her, a great love and stuff like that. They are, like, I think there's no denying that Jared and Holly really are mentally sick, and I really do wish them the best in terms of finding the proper treatment and the help that they need, because they're gonna need it at this point. Like, for them, like, because of this controversy, they're gonna go through a really rough road ahead. So at that point, they're gonna need a lot of psychological help. They're gonna need everything that they need in order to feel a lot more rehabilitated. And this idea of, like, being, like, having this kind of affair, like, that can just pass on, that, or like, even with Jared, like, like, honestly, the whole thing with the whole Tumblr, like, nude, like, bringing, like, soliciting nude photos and stuff like that can be put to an end and stuff like that. Like, they're gonna need years of therapy on this, but I wish them luck. Like, honestly, I do wish them luck to be mentally well, because currently right now, they got problems, and they need to fix their problems. Okay. So with that said and done, though, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you all think about all this? Because honestly, holy crap, this is one of the most insane YouTube controversies that I've seen, and I think I pretty much expressed everything in my mind about this, so I just want to know what you think. Okay, man, I like this idea of having water. Okay, let's see now. The news is pretty fridged up. His wife is beautiful, and ProJared should not have treated her like garbage. Hearing about the bad relationships is like eating expired food. It makes me sick. I hope the hashtag #MeToo movement will advocate for getting this guy to face consequences. I bet you the right opinion will make a video on this. If ProJared did this, like in ancient Rome, Flavia, Marcia, Fausta would have seriously punished him by sentencing him to prison or put him to death. Also, what are you drinking in that? Water. If you want to know what I'm drinking, it's literally just water. But yeah, no, I absolutely do agree on you on that. And trust me, Jared is facing consequences. There is no denying on that. He is currently facing consequences, and I'm sure this is going to continue. This is just the beginning of his consequences. Like, I don't know how long it's going to be, like, for his subs to continue to go down and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that with Jared, we're going to see a lot more punishments. Like, rather it be, like, more YouTubers talking about the whole controversy, or we're going to be seeing a lot more regarding the stuff that did happen. It's just, trust me, I think this is the very beginning of his consequences, and it could be like ancient Rome. Keep in mind of the allegations. If they turned out to be true, if there is some strong legitimacy to it, this guy be going to prison. No questions asked. Alright, let's see. I'm just hoping we can get as much support as we can give. By the way, Matt, which controversy is worse, this or the Toon Critic Y2K scandal last year? Admittedly, I'm not too familiar about the Toon Critic scandal. I have heard about some stuff, and yeah, they really are messed up. But honestly, on that regard, I would have to do a little bit more research regarding on which one is worse. But I can say right now, it's going to be pretty tough to beat this right over here, considering the amount of insane layers that there are. Okay, let's see. I've only seen one of Jared's videos, and that's his review of the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. After hearing about it, what he did recently, all I could say is, holy guacamole, this is John Lucy controversy all over again. But I don't know which is worse, this YouTube Rewind 2018 or Logan Paul. Oh boy. Well, that really does depend. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say YouTube Rewind is just because, like, YouTube Rewind is just because they really made a cringy bad video that ended up getting so much hate and dislikes. It's pretty much like YouTube Rewind 2018 is like the Emoji Movie of YouTube videos. But, in terms of the Logan Paul and and this right over here with ProJared, I mean, it really does depend, honestly. It really does depend in terms of the context. Like, I think, honestly, in terms of the individual, I think Jared would be worse. But in terms of the consequences and how YouTube approached it, I think Logan Paul is much worse. So that's honestly my take on the situation. Let's see here. To be honest, I've never heard of this guy before, and after hearing from this, this just made me sink. Doing all those horrible things nearly proves that this guy should go to prison for this. I don't know what will happen next, but seriously, this guy has to go to prison for the horrible things he's done. I feel like it's worse than Channel Awesome. Oh yeah, honestly, like, this thing right over here, yeah, like Heidi definitely got treated much worse than, like, many of the members of Channel Awesome. And regarding the elements of prison, first we need to go and check out if it is 100% true of the soliciting nude photos. But you never know. I feel like there is a strong possibility from there. Let's see here. Not a word here. Not one word, man. But I'll say that he is totally messed up. Even as controversial as the people that went through the hashtag #MeToo movement. In fact, call it in. Unfollowed him and any part of social media like YouTube or Twitter. Make it out to the event or public to be known that he can never be trusted and his loved ones may be treated better. All right. Okay, so I think with all that said and done, I think this should conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And what an insane episode that we just went through. Like, oh boy, honestly, I was worried that, we didn't have much, we didn't have much animation news, so I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot to talk about, but, oh yeah, we certainly talked a whole lot about this piece right over here. So, hopefully next week, it will be a lot more positive and we'll have a lot more fun things to go and discuss about and get crazy with the news. So with all that said and done, I would just like to say thank you all so much for watching. And thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for listening. And until next time, see you later, dudes!